snow fell cold on a bitter night. John was gone for the morning light. They blame Karen, but it don't sit right. Too many secrets hid from sight. Oh, the badge runs deep, the law runs thin. They stack the deck, but truth won't bend. The judge looks away, the truth gets drowned. Ain't no justice in Canton Town. Proctor's story shifts and sways. Cameras vanish, records fade. The Alberts toast while the doubts grow strong. The folks still fight, won't be long. Oh, the badge runs deep, the law runs thin. They stack the deck, but truth won't bend. The judge looks away, the truth gets drowned. Ain't no justice in Canton Town. Proctor's story shifts and sways. Cameras vanish, records fade. The Alberts toast while the doubts grow strong. The folks still fight, won't be long. Oh, the badge runs deep, the law runs thin. They stack the deck, but truth won't bend. The judge looks away, the truth gets drowned. Ain't no justice in Canton Town.
Hey everyone, welcome back to this riveting. I picked some data points and then I tried to make it match, maybe. I don't understand what we're doing.
No.
Mo will now give you the 10 most important things from this morning that'll fix everything.
Okay, number one, apparently, if you send a curricula vitae, that is correct, but all 8 others are incorrect. You are a genius. Telematics are something important. Miss McLaughlin is just terrible, as all women are, apparently. Just kidding. It's a joke if you can't get it. I can successfully go to sleep with my eyes open. I have given myself license to not listen to this man after he lied about his education. And the other 10 are Brennan related. I don't like the way he talks. Sounds like he's slurring. He's an idiot. He doesn't understand the subject material, and he's lying. There's 10. You're muted.
There you have it. The only thing we still don't know is, where did the pepperoni pizza go?
That pepperoni pizza has grown mold, along with the pancakes and was it pancakes and waffles? God,
Yeah, she had both. That's weird. Who would have pancakes and waffles?
Carb
Waffles
loaders?
is a nice crispy thing that you can kind of get a little bite into. Pancakes are soft. Well, American pancakes are just like bread, but real pancakes are soft, and you put Nutella on
Rubbery.
them, and it's...
They do have a sort of al dente tooth feel. I do like crepes. I know it's probably a terrible way to describe them, but that's how they... I was actually going for Sailor Moon, but I'll take Princess Leia or Padme, although she kind of creeped out on the young boy, so not really, but I like her dresses.
We never talked enough. I think that's where the teachers got it from. They grew up with the Star Wars Phantom Menace, and then they thought, I want to be a princess too. Apparently you have to rub the cradle.
No, I like waffles better than pancakes. I
No,
don't get waffles
it
and
depends
chicken.
on if I'm having it with ice cream, I'd like a waffle because it's more sturdy and it's better as a base. If I'm just having a little, just take a nice thin pancake, not a crepe. It's a pancake,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and then
Lo siento mucho.
you'll put a little sugar on it and a little strawberry jam, and you'll roll it up, and you'll just pop, 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 pop. Whew. Sweet 7 pound baby Jesus in your tuxedo t-shirt, kind of implying that you're down to party, but you're relaxed as well. That's what I like. Yeah, that's creepy.
I mean, it's not as terrible as I thought she was like 16 or 18, you know.
But again, of course you lose a trade war when you let a 14-year-old run the country.
Yeah, that is
Have you
kind of
learned
dumb.
nothing from Europe?
Well, again, Europe continues to let Germany run them like they haven't had experience with that going wrong a couple times.
Hell,
I, am I wrong or
no, it's just
okay?
it's just CC going cray cray again.
Ah,
Thin crusty edge pancakes. I don't want crusty edges. I just want a nice little thin pancake, and sugar and strawberry or Nutella.
okay. So do you
Ooh.
have to have a special pan to make these thinner but not crepe pancakes?
Yeah, you take a pan and you just don't pour as much on it.
Well, you know what? The French have their own daggone pan for crepes.
You use
I
a
didn't know
pan.
if.
It's not that hard.
Well, I figured the Danes were different, but
And don't come at me with the coconut on pineapple upside down cake. I used a recipe from the Americas, and that went horribly wrong.
kind of
That
like this
was,
testimony.
yeah.
Also, I would like to lodge a complaint. So my husband got Star Mix, and there was only one, count them uno, of the eggs, and it was good. And I'm mad now, so I'm going to personally call. You can probably hear that. That's the rain.
Yeah. Mo's mad that she makes the weather. Woohoo! Free chat. Wait. Well, kind of free. Thank you, Volpe Fox, for 15 months. That's a long time. Should have used the Australian upside down cake recipe. I should just have used my own upside down because that's okay. This one tasted. We have something that we call. You probably call it homeroom or something in America,
Oh
but
yeah,
we have in school we have like one lesson a week or a month or something like that, where someone will bring cake, and well, we did back before we had sugar policies because we have to protect the kids. They can't have one piece of cake ever, and we always made this. It's called a dream cake from a city called Brost. Don't think about it, and it's just like a pound cake with coconut and sugar melted together to form a layer on
ooh.
top, and it just doesn't go well with pineapple. Hey, Santiago. I did the recipe. You saw it. You were there. No, I got a WWE cookbook, and I made it after that cookbook. And I was like, coconut? Well, it's for the Yanks. Yanks are weird. And it was bad. It's not a good cake. I didn't eat it. I gave it away. Everything is better in America. Pancakes, waffles, cake, pew-pews. We even have razors for women so they don't have hairy legs and armpits. Well, and most of them are probably sold by a British company because weird thing that Americans have with, well, Europeans don't use deodorant or shave. We do. I shave
It's a
regularly.
stereotype.
It's a stereotype, but it's the same. Not all Americans are dumb and speak with a southern accent. It's stereotypes are not true.
Until you get asked by your physical therapist where in the South you were born and you realize you have leaned into your hillbilly accent a little too much. Because I was like, no, I'm from actually Indiana. She's like, nuh-uh.
It was a gift. I was gifted it the last time I was in Tennessee. Gifted 2 WWE cookbooks, and I tried it.
Okay, who in the WWE lent their creativity to that particular recipe? Because they need to be,
I'll find it.
what is it, lobstered or crabbed? Hell, I don't remember. The only thing I remember in wrestling is rear naked choke, which I find misleading because they're generally never naked, and I don't think you're allowed to choke them really. So it's kind of misleading. That being said, wrestling sure is loud and pretty colors. I don't quite get it, but it seems like a fun time. And they're really good at not getting hurt when they're hit with chairs.
You had an entire cookbook and chose that recipe. I chose it because I think someone ordered me to do it. But I'll figure out. I think it was a Big Show or whoever put his name on it, or The Rock or something. It was horrible.
Does The Rock even get to eat cake? I thought he lived on like chicken breast and raw eggs and livers.
Oh no, he's clean.
No, do human growth hormones count as steroids?
Yes,
Oh,
I think it's in this one. You can get China's pico de gallo or Crass
I want
Holly's
Mexican.
jelly shooters. The family butter cookies, The Rock's favorite chocolate chip cookies, Brother Love's heavenly fudge, banana cream pie, pumpkin pie, best cake ever, classy cheesecake, red velvet cake, uncensored banana nut bread.
Do they put a whole banana in there like a bean? I don't understand why it's uncensored.
Well, it's because he was a member of the Right to Censor group.
Oh, so another baking interesting. So I was helping Mr. Mo make his very first meatloaf, and I had to come back up here, and I told him to put it in a pan. He put it in a bread pan. I don't have the heart to tell him that I generally just put it in a Pyrex pan.
Nope, I don't think it was that one. So it's probably in the official.
Ooh,
You know it's good when it's official.
official.
What?
Does Hulk Hogan
Oh,
have
it's
any
our
recipes?
truth. It's our truth that they put this horrendous cake.
Oh,
And it says 1 cup flake sweetened coconut. So I did it right, but it was wrong.
we have had a request for the Wheel of Excuses. Now, I haven't updated it to put time variances and crazy, but for all of his reasons,
Back in session, you may be seated.
He
All right,
misspoke.
Mr. Brennan, whenever you're
It
ready.
Thank you.
Misspoke. Oh God, not again. It's like a nightmare. I can't wake up. No, and I appreciate it. It's just letting go of how
Sir, when I
used to do
asked
it.
you about your first report regarding the protocol, you told us October 10th, followed by your supplement on the 17th. You did not remember the day that you first received any information offered by Mr. DeSorga. Is there a document that may refresh your memory?
Yes, there is.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
I want you to read this. I just want you to look at it. You can look at any part of it.
Okay.
And look up when you're done, then I'll ask you a question.
Okay.
Does that refresh your memory the first time that you saw any information provided by Mr. DeSorga?
Yes, it does.
And when was that?
November 7th of 2024.
Before or after you recognized the megabyte oversight?
That would be after.
Okay. This is not the win.
I want to go
this
back
is
to
not
where we
the
were,
win you
where
think it
we were
is.
at before we went to lunch. You had described two tech stream events. I want to focus on the first tech stream event, and that is the tech stream event relative to the three-point turn.
Okay.
You had described that there was a timestamp 154. Just to reacquaint us, can you very briefly tell us the significance of 154?
No.
Sure. So GPS point 154 is a GPS point that occurs just before the three-point turn starts.
And why is it important to
His tuft has gotten thinner. He lost hair.
The tuft of shame is receding. Tuft of shame is receding.
identify when that turn starts and when it ends?
Sure. So what we're specifically looking at comparing is the end of the three-point turn. That's going to be the tech stream event ending, which is near the end of the three-point turn, as well as the end of the three-point turn as recorded in Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone.
Was it important to identify the beginning and end of that event to come to a conclusion to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty regarding the variance between the tech stream data and Mr. O'Keefe's phone?
Yes, there was. So we can't say, we can pinpoint approximately when the three-point turn ends based on the GPS data. But best practice would be to use a range of time. So the range we're using is the time that the three-point turn starts to the time that the three-point turn ends.
Could we have from Mr. Burgess's PowerPoint number 41, please?
Well, I feel sorry for him.
Is this part of your presentation?
I don't.
In explaining
How can you
the
pinpoint an
beginning and end
approximate?
point of that three-point turn?
It does. So if you look at, and if you recall yesterday, the heading change, first heading change from a general north heading is depicted by that green shading circle.
Could you use your pointer, please?
Sure. Yes.
Ms. Gilman, can you enlarge just a little bit?
So again, this green circle is going to be the center of this circle is going to be the GPS point itself. That's going to be centered on the horizontal radius, which is the accuracy. So the green circle represents the 16-foot accuracy zone. The black arrow coming off in a northwestern direction is going to be the heading for that point. And then again, the yellow is going to be the approximately 8 seconds later when the heading changes again in a southerly direction, and then the GPS points after that also continue south with increasing speed.
What part of the three-point turn event does the green circle signify?
Sure. So that's going to be the approximate beginning of the three-point turn.
in that time?
That's going to be 12:23:59.
The yellow circle, what part of the three-point turn does that indicate?
Sure. So that's going to be approximately the end of the 3-point turn. And that time is going to be 12:24:07.
Is there any correlation between the times in the green, the time difference between the green and yellow circle, and the range you ultimately arrive at as far as the synchronization variance?
Yes. So that is what determines that range of 21 to 29 seconds.
This illustration or diagram where you've put the green circle, is that based on actual data?
Yes, that is based on actual data recorded by Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone.
That data, is it accurately reflected in this diagram?
Yes, it is. So again, the GPS point that is recorded within the iPhone, every point has a horizontal accuracy. And again, that horizontal accuracy is depicted by the green circle.
Is that level of precision used when you create this diagram?
Yes, it is.
The yellow circle, is that specifically reflected in the data, or is that an estimate?
Sure. So that's specifically reflected in the data. So that is another GPS position that has been recorded by the iPhone. Again, with a horizontal accuracy, a timestamp, and a speed and heading.
How about the orange circles?
So the orange circles are are portions of the GPS positions leading up to this event. So if we went back one slide, you would see, it would zoom out, obviously, so a little bit harder to see. But essentially what we've done is I've removed the other orange circles representing GPS points heading north and the GPS points heading south after the 3-point turn. And I've just removed those for clarity to kind of clean up the map so it's easier to read.
On the left, text stream 11621. Remind us again where that information comes from.
Sure. So that's the text stream. That's the end of the text stream event for the 3-point turn. And that is based on the infotainment clock as well as that running timer from the airbag control module.
Does this diagram reflect the data that you reviewed to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes, it does.
In breaking down this timestamp 154 and getting into the minute detail of when it started and ended,
You can't tell when it started and it ended. Baker, the book you need is Baking Yesteryear, the best recipes from the 1900s to the 1980s. Well, I'll see if I can find it. Probably not carried in a lot of shops.
That sounds awesome as a cookbook.
I think lard will be 95% of the ingredients.
You know what? Did your grandma have 18 children, wore a house dress, and made lard biscuits? I mean, I'm just saying she had her bills paid and, her husband came home every night. Lard is it.
The Dutch have arrived. Anyone who is asking about this is the 3-point turn they do on the road before they go to Fairview 34. It's not in front of Fairview.
of your charts, does it also show it numerically?
Yes, it does.
Can we have number 40, please? Before we discuss this again, where did you get the information to put in this chart?
Sure. So this is coming from Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone. Specifically, it's coming from a SQLite database that is recording locations as he's using the Waze app to navigate.
Is the information in this chalk or diagram directly from the data?
It is directly from the data.
Is this accurate to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes, it is.
If we could zoom in just a little, we'll have to go left to right.
Is it accurate to a scientific degree of certainty? It's inaccurate with 16.4 feet.
Yeah. And how do we know it's accurate on the speed if it's approximate on the horizontal accuracy? Sorry.
And
Well, no, this actually should, this is probably pretty good data, I think.
But
Because they're taking the timestamps directly from his phone, which has the GPS, which is going to record direction and speed and
who does a 3-point turn in 7 seconds. The car is immobile for 7 seconds. How does it then change direction? It goes from 6.7 to standing still to doing 11.2 miles per hour.
So the heading.
It changes direction and just in 1 second goes 11.2 miles per hour.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Well, it might not
How
record
does
speed
it
if it's
change
in reverse.
direction?
It
Does
might
he
not
change
record
the phone
speeds.
while he's sitting still and then the car starts moving? Or is it
It might-
moving in this period of time, but it's too slow for the phone to register?
It might not record speeds in reverse.
Well, speed is speed. It doesn't care. Movement is movement. This is his phone. This is not the car. Your phone doesn't care if you're going backwards or forwards. But again, to a scientific degree of accuracy, he changes
the direction-
degrees from he changes his heading from 284 to 352. In 7 seconds, he's stuck at 352, and then he almost does a half turn without. That's when the speed is applied.
So actually, wait a minute. Why would they
Zero,
be stopped
zero,
for 7
zero.
seconds?
From this is 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second, 5 second, 6 second, 7 seconds.
Yeah, no. I'm agreeing. Why would they be at a complete
Maybe
stop
figuring out
for
which
7
way
That's
to
what
go.
I'm
Maybe
saying.
Karen has directional issues like me.
No, because it changes. This is a change in degrees at 70 degrees
Okay.
between these two spots, right? From 284 to 352. Then it's standing still, completely still for 7 seconds. And then magically it has done a 180 and is going 11.2 miles per hour.
Well, no, that part makes sense, right? So that's when she backs up, and then she comes to a complete stop, and then when
No,
she
because
travels
this is when she
forward-
does her heading change.
right.
this
Right.
is
All
when
she
they're
does
go-
is put it in drive.
2.84 is slightly, that would be 10-ish o'clock on a old-fashioned clock. Then she goes to almost true north. That's 360 degrees on a clock. And then
When
she
she
goes to
backs
6
up.
o'clock.
When she drives forward.
Yeah, it's at this point at 284 is probably when she does that one,
Yes.
right?
And then and then backing up and going
Then
up.
but then her phone is stuck here for 7 seconds. With it's heading in that direction, which could be her backing up. Sits
Right.
here for 7 seconds, and then moves this way
Yes.
at a speed at 11.2 miles per hour. That's not how a car works.
I'm not sure why
I
she would be
can't-
stopped for 7 seconds.
What?
I'm not sure how she would be stopped for 7 seconds and then just.
That's
all
what
of a
I'm
sudden
saying.
goes
That's not how a car
11.2
works.
miles an hour.
You would be moving if you have to. Again, here you're doing this roughly. While standing still, she's in this direction, and then
Well, you got.
she springs
Drawing it
into
weird.
action and accelerates to 11 miles in 1 second going in this direction, which could be that the car goes this way and then it backs up. So it's facing the other way, but because he's having his phone in his hand, it thinks we're going north because that's how GPS will think for you.
Correct.
And then you go this way.
Yes.
But the problem is, why is there no motion from the time she is doing this to he's in that direction? Because this is a forward motion. She will have to arrest the forward motion to go backwards.
Would it be because she only pulled in a little bit, right? Like, so she didn't travel that direction. She just kind of moved her car length and then backed up and left.
No, because you have a 70-degree change of angle with no movement. I don't understand it.
Right? Ms.
It
Gilman?
is a little weird that there's
Start
no
with the left.
speed recorded at all.
Timestamp 154.
Oh,
At what point in that 3-point
That's
turn
why.
does 154 represent? On
the
left?
horizontal accuracy gets
timestamp
bigger.
12:23:58 or GPS point 154 is
Yeah,
approximately.
That's what he said.
That's why.
Yeah, but still, there's no movement with the directional change. That's the thing.
Well, but that's why, because she's got now a 30-foot radius of, they can't quite pin her down, so she can move in that 30 feet without being.
Yeah, but
detected,
then the
essentially.
accelerometer should still show movement.
Not if they can't pinpoint it. Not from
Yes.
the phone.
Yes, it would just still have varying degrees of inaccuracy with the movement.
1 second before we see the heading change. If we could zoom out just a little bit. A little bit more.
How is the 3-point turn important? They use it to pinpoint what time aligns with the Lexus clock and the iPhone clock.
Yep. So we see the heading change represented in green. That's a heading change to 284. Before that, we've got a pretty consistent heading of 348 to 339. So that first heading change, as well as the drop in speeds, is indicative of a 3-point turn maneuver.
The latitude and longitude, did that assist you in making the diagram with the circles on it?
Yes, it did.
How so?
So the latitude and longitude
There's no
are the
speed.
center points for each GPS point, or the center point for each circle.
There's a green highlighted row and an orange highlighted row. What's the difference between the two?
Sure. So the green highlighted row is, again, the beginning, the approximate beginning of the 3-point turn. And the orange or the yellow is the approximate end of the 3-point turn.
In the time between the green and the orange lines,
Approximately 8 seconds.
is that consistent with the range that you've shown for synchronization?
Yes, it
between
is.
Point 21 or plus 21 and plus 29?
Yes, it is.
The inevitable variance that you found between the text stream data and between Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone, could you share with us to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty what that variance is?
Objection, Your Honor.
Do you have an opinion about the time range in the synchronization between Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone data and the Lexus clock that shows the text stream data to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Objection, Your Honor. I appreciate it.
Okay, so answer that question, yes or no.
Sure. So yes, I can.
So I'll see you inside that, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The running clock as contained in
I always yell at the mic. It's because I'm sitting here and thinking, I get mad. But
Mo, you
the
snitch.
car can't turn 180 degrees without moving. He could have gotten out or he could have turned the phone, but then it wouldn't say heading in that direction. I'm not buying this.
I, like most of the jurors, am confused, and my brain is like, I don't get it. I don't get any of this. I hate all of you. Shut up. That's basically where I'm at with.
Go back to slide 40, please.
Thank you, Bad Dog. See, a bad dog with an afro.
In reaching your conclusion about the variance between the defendant's Lexus as contained in the text stream as it relates to Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone, was stamp 154, timestamp 154, part of your analysis?
Yes, it was part of my analysis.
Was the running clock on the text stream data part of your analysis?
Yes, it was part of my analysis.
What else was part of your
I hate to
analysis?
say this, but he is
So in
super
addition
shiny.
to
He is
the location
sweating.
data, including the GPS 154, that would be the running clock for the text stream data, as well as the infotainment clock from the Lexus.
How does the running clock correlate with the text stream data and with the time on Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone?
Sure. So they correlate. So the running clock and the infotainment clock are used to create that timestamp for the text stream events 1 and 2. And then comparing those to the iPhone, we can adjust and get a clock variance for those.
Did you come to a conclusion to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty about the variance range between
I want to know
defendant's Lexus
what science
and
he's
clock system
using.
and Mr. O'Keefe's phone?
Yes, I did.
And to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, What is that variance that is needed to identify for synchronization?
Overruled.
That is 21 to 29 seconds.
29 seconds now, not 21 to
Now,
29.
Number 43.
That's what he said, 21 to 29.
Thank you, Valhalla.
Yes, ma'am. Which is where we got the 21 to 29 earlier. The 16 to 21 was that
Did you
chart.
create this diagram?
I did, yes.
Okay.
That had something to do with
When comparing the
phones.
text stream event, the backing
Not
maneuver,
this.
to Mr. O'Keefe's clock on his phone, do you recognize the different timestamps on each device?
Yes, I do.
When you are trying to synchronize them, what do you do? What is the base? Do you start with the text stream event and you add, or do you start with Mr. O'Keefe's phone and subtract?
Sure. So we could do it either way because we're wanting to compare this against other events that happened or occurred on Mr. O'Keefe's phone. We're going to adjust the text stream clock or the Lexus clock to Mr. O'Keefe's clock. But you could do it either way.
The window that is depicted on this diagram, this is not
Yeah, if you make up a variant, you can do whatever you want with it. You have to prove that variant is there.
a 3-point turn.
No, this is not the 3-point turn.
Which event is this?
This is going to be the backing maneuver.
The green. What does that green depict?
Yeah.
Sure. So the green depicts the range of time that this text stream event ended. So based on our range of 21 to 29 seconds and applying that, adding that to the Lexus clock, we get a adjusted time of 12:32:04 to 12:32:12. And that's going to be the approximate end time of text stream event 11:62:2.
Now, again, the text stream data has a limit on the amount of time available.
Can you rephrase your question? So I
Sure. You said
understand.
a window is captured during a triggering event.
Sure. Yes. So there is a window that's captured during the triggering event.
And what is that window? How much time?
Sure. So from the text stream trigger, there's 5 seconds before and 5 seconds after.
Can an event be longer than that 10-second window?
Yes, it can.
And in this case, do you know at the end of this reconciled event at 12:32:12, do you know from your study what direction the defendant's car was traveling at 12:32:12?
It would have been traveling in reverse.
And at 12:32:12, do you know how fast the defendant's Lexus was traveling?
How do you know that? Because you haven't shown that.
Yeah, how did he get to this? Again, this is way out of scope for Cross. We did not talk about this at all during direct or redirect. This is way, they didn't talk about this in Cross and they didn't talk about this in direct. This is way out of scope. Allegedly, I'm not a lawyer.
At 12:32:12.
I do not recall.
Mr. O'Keefe's last user interaction with his phone at 12:32:09. Where does that fall within the 10-second window that was captured by the text stream data?
Sure. So that falls within that 8-second window. So again, the text stream event ends somewhere between 12:32:04 and 12:32:12. But
Well,
that does
no
not represent
objections,
that the
so-
backing maneuver has ended. Just the recorded data has ended.
Holy goodness, I got a
And in your
lawyer
review,
thing
do
right.
you have around this time any other movement of Mr. O'Keefe's phone after 12:32:16?
I bet.
I did not look at that specifically. It was my understanding that Mr. Whiffen looked at that.
To a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, did both these events, the last user interaction and the window captured on the reconciled data for the text stream, happen around the same time?
Yes, they did.
I have no further questions. Or I can approach later for now.
So we can approach again.
Yeah, approach again and say, hey, Your Honor, you better hold on to your butts because we let him go way outside of scope. So I brought all the loop I could find that Diddy hadn't bought. And trust me, this is going to be a...
Okay, I want to see him cry
Even
now.
Germany wouldn't allow this kind of movies.
I hope he's into humiliation prawn because that's what this is going to be. It's going to be up on the hub in about 5
He
minutes.
looks like he's into humiliation prawn, Mo.
He looks like he likes
it.
women stepping on him like a rug
Well,
or something. Allegedly in Minecraft.
MG, this guy isn't looking at the car data. He's just looking at GPS data and trying to sync it up. And then he read a report that it was going in reverse. This is how he knows. Because he never, ever touched the raw data. So how he, to any degree of scientific certainty, can say that A is A and B is B, I still haven't found out. And we just built in a magic 8-second gap to make it fit. And they never addressed that she arrives at home 4 minutes later, which she couldn't have done because it's a 6-minute drive.
I feel like the dumbest person in humanity, honestly, because all of this stuff is so confusing to me. And I think that's the point. I think it's a lot of words because if you're a juror, your mindset is, I need to understand all this information to make an informed choice. And they're putting, as Valhalla says, all the chaff in the air to try to blind the radar to the fact that they are just inept and just mendacious.
I'm just getting annoyed that this is allowed in a courtroom with an expert who falsified his CV, which should instantly have led to at least a voir dire. Second of all, Hanky Panky lied about the report. Third of all,
Yes, he did.
all of this is, I can tell you now, this trial, because I have looked, I synchronized my watch on my computer and the watch on Paulo Ball's hands, and I can tell you court started today at 9 o'clock in the evening, Central Time. Because if you go back and watch that time where they had their first sidebar and me rubbing my nose for the first time, that was two coinciding events that shows the time is accurate. This is the reasoning this guy's using. Just trust me.
Your Honor, I move into evidence the following pages from Mr. Burgess's PowerPoint presentation. Move into evidence page 41. I move into evidence page 40. And I move into evidence page 43.
Okay, allowed.
Thank you.
All right, Alessi,
Well-
make him cry.
Judge Bev could just have allowed her to have her headphones on. Then she didn't have to
I
go
have no
up
further
there. But people get in their panties in a wad for no reason.
Once we get these modified,
Thank you.
Also, MG, are experts allowed to comment on reports of experts that haven't been introduced yet? I've not seen that
Again, if
before.
they don't object to it,
Fair point.
all right? Whenever you're ready, Mr. Leslie.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Here he comes to ruin your day.
I'm certain to a scientific degree. I will send you my
Your
peer-reviewed
Honor.
Yes.
Thank you.
text I sent to my neighbor. He doesn't read it, but it's
Mr.
peer-reviewed.
Burgess, between the
Because his name
time
is Pierre.
you left the witness stand yesterday until this moment, have you talked to anyone about this case?
No, sir, I have not.
Liar.
That's a lie.
Has a filing ever been made in any court in which your educational background has been misrepresented?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Pardon me?
Not that I'm aware of.
That's quite the qualifier.
Do we have reports of other courts? Because I think we might.
Yeah.
Oh,
It says that
Oh,
he's
gosh,
worked on
wow.
thousands
Did I
of cases.
understand that you're based out of the Aperture office in Texas?
Yes, I am.
And are you aware of a case in the United States District Court, Eastern District of Texas, Marshall Division, titled Jeffrey Glover and Teresa Glover versus Graphic Packaging International LLC? Are you familiar with that case?
Yes, I am.
And is it correct that in that case, well, tell me how you are participating in that case, sir?
So I'm no longer participating in that case. So
no
if I
longer.
believe correctly, that would have been a accident reconstruction case from I don't recall, a year or two ago.
And so it was a case that you did participate in, correct?
Yes, I did.
And what was your role in that case?
Sure. So my role in that case was an accident reconstructionist.
And
But
did
he's not
you
trained.
provide any testimony, deposition, or otherwise in that case?
No, I did not.
Did you, in that particular case, there were, like all cases, filings made, correct?
I'm sure there were, yes.
Also, when did he get car reconstructionology seminars?
Yeah, he was a forensic digital forensicist.
Now he's a computational mathematical carologist.
Come on, get the flow. This should have been there. Come on.
Yeah.
You shouldn't go looking for it.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I would like to have a document marked as the next exhibit for identification,
Okay.
please.
Oh gosh, Bev's like, if he put on his CV, look at her face. Bev is
ID.
He's looking over at it like, what the fuck?
He's like, I did never send
May I
anything
present
to
the witness,
them.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Burgess, I am showing you a document which has been marked as Exhibit EEE for identification, and I'd ask that you...
No, he was prepared for cross-examination. This should flow because he needs to go up there and kick him in the face to take away what Brennan just did. And he shouldn't be looking for papers and wasting 2 minutes of the jury's time. It's not
Letting him
about
cook
patience.
for 2
it's-
minutes, though. Letting the witness cook for 2 minutes, stressing like, what the hell?
No, because he wasn't. He's not stressing. He's just sitting there thinking, "I'm going to lie again."
You take a look at it, sir, Your Honor.
Thank
May
you,
I
Betty.
remain here?
I can always
as
count
you
on you,
stand back.
evil
Yes,
Marissa, as always.
yes, thank you, Your Honor.
She's humping my style, man. She's.
We like to build drama and tension in America, Baker. We're not just
Yeah, we're theatrical in
Exactly.
America. Not theatrical enough
things-
to
Mr.
lead
Burgess,
to like fun
If you want to
C-SPAN
have
stuff.
theatrical, you can do interpret dance like the one Valhalla got his degree in.
Listen, man, you're not covering Danish cases, are
with
you?
regard to
'Cause we got the drama.
EEE, do you recognize the second page, and do you recognize any stamping at the top of each of those pages?
Yes, I do.
And can you describe what that stamping is?
Sure. So that is stamping for a file date of 8/7/2023.
And is that a stamping of a federal court?
Oh, he lied
That
to the
I'm not
feds?
sure.
Ooh, that'd be bad.
If I were to show you a document, might a document refresh your recollection as to whether
Sure.
Exhibit
I'm never late.
EEE is a filing in
Screen
a
doesn't
federal
start
court?
without me.
Yes.
That's true.
May I, Your Honor?
Sure.
I am showing you,
Did you show those to Mr. Brennan?
thank you, Your Honor.
Don't show him to
Here,
Brennan. Who cares?
Mr. Brennan,
believe I did,
let me
but
show
I
you
wanna
where
make-
your
And just let me know if
expert
we need
witness
to.
committed
We
perjury.
will.
This is
Can
To
I
the
mark
feds.
each of these for identification? There,
They actually might charge him.
one first.
The
They-
feds
No.
don't play.
nah, the
might.
feds.
They didn't
Well-
care that Carrie lied to. No, Jen lied to them.
This is provable, though. If he doesn't have a degree and says that he does on
It
the
is, so
federal,
it could be marked as one document.
I like how he's like, I'm no longer participating because the case had already been adjudicated.
Right. Thank you.
I reach over you, sir.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank
who's
you.
Hank's gonna call an objection?
Sir, I am showing you what has been marked as Exhibit FFF for identification and ask whether or not this document can refresh your recollection as to whether the court filing that you reviewed in Exhibit EEE is indeed a federal court.
Yes, it is.
So that document refreshes your recollection that what has been filed is represented in EEE as a filing in a federal court, correct, sir?
Correct.
Now, what I'd like to do is to draw your attention to the second page of this exhibit. Is that a curriculum vitae of you and a picture of you?
Yes, it is.
And sir, under education,
Objection.
I would,
The objection stays.
right. Do you,
Do you want to bring it over? We can take
I
it
will,
there.
Your Honor, I will.
Bev's like, this is gonna be bad.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why would she sustain that?
Because he asked the wrong question.
Why is she smiling? Maybe she's looking for an out. Trial.
No, I think, I don't know. Oh, by the way, Valhalla, this is what it does.
Oh, cool. I was
Okay.
wondering what it would. I just saw that little
it
doodad
fades
on my
out pretty quick, huh?
thingamabob. That's
Can you
pretty
put it
cool.
elsewhere on the screen, or is it just right there?
Nope.
Just locked in, huh?
Can
Yeah.
you make it any clearer?
Nope.
Or
That's
It's just
dumb.
on your comments, on the chat, in top it'll say show comments on stage. I don't know
Thank
how
you
it
so
looks.
pretty darn cool. But I'm just always amazed at
We're
anything
becoming Twitch streamers.
computery.
Well, I don't stream to Twitch anymore because no one was watching me over there. You're definitely not being made fun of right now. Thank you, Lefty. I know you support me. I recommended
Good call,
Lefty
Lefty.
on Twitch. They asked, who has inspired you as a creator? YouTube asked, and I lied and said Lefty. I said Lefty because he's such a great guy. Everyone should watch him beat horses.
MG Law, that this is StreamYard. It's something new that they put on it's something.
I don't know if it's distracting. I can't really see it. Do we like
Yeah,
it or don't we like it?
I don't know if I like it or not, if I'm being honest.
No,
I wish
I'm
it was
not.
like more legible. Like I wish it was
Yeah,
bigger.
I wish it
Yeah, it's
were
way too
bigger
small.
or
for-
something. Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, sadly,
Yeah.
that's why I'm divorced.
Sue doesn't
you-
like it.
Well, things Sue don't like.
Men.
Oh, it's only going to be another hour and 15-minute stream, so I can't get to all of them.
It just seems
Sorry,
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It just seems weird.
it's like
Maybe
they did.
if we showed up tomorrow with Catty-S and we were in kiddie pools saying, hey, if you pay me, I'll write your name on my forehead. It'll feel more natural because that's more of a Twitch thing.
I've got a kiddie pool out in the yard. I use it to
I
water
mean,
the
I
ducks.
have cat ears. I think we can make this happen.
And I won't be streaming tomorrow.
Baker, yeah, because he'll be gathering his bathwater to sell.
Blech. It's 40 years, Sue. That's impressive. Congratulations.
Brian,
Congrats.
it might. I'm not sure. But does it take all chats or does it only take mine?
It's got all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got all of them.
It's too
If he's
small.
not allowed to bring this in, I'm going to be so pissed.
Yeah.
May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes, because
Thank
he
you.
on redirect he said he
Bruce, I'm
never
gonna have
lied.
to Be a little close in proximity. Bear with me, please.
Yeah, this should
What I
absolutely
would
be a
like to
mystery.
do, sir, is to put before you again Exhibit FF for identification and Exhibit EE for identification. And what I would like to do is to ask you some questions, sir, with regard to the process in the case.
Okay.
Are you aware, or do you recall in this litigation that, as typical in litigation, including federal courts, that as part of the litigation process, the parties have to designate their expert witnesses? Are you aware generally of that process?
Generally, yes.
Yes. And have you participated in the documents that need to be prepared for an attorney or a party to prepare documents and submit them to a court to establish the designation of expert witnesses?
No, I have not.
And so you have never participated or never been aware of a process like this?
No, I'm aware of a process.
Brandy writes on Twitter, this is the federal docs they're talking about right now. I pulled them from Pacer yesterday. Weird. These were filed in August 23, but he has a presentation listed there from September 23. Timelines are fun.
Interesting.
Brandy does an awesome job.
She's amazing.
So it goes to other staff members where?
At Aperture.
Right. Are you aware that that process is occurring, even though it may be done by other staff at Aperture?
Yes, I am.
And in this instance, you were aware in this litigation that staff at Aperture needed to submit documents in support of an expert witness designation, correct? Even though you may not have done it yourself, you were aware that some person or persons at Aperture were performing that process, correct?
Correct.
And they were performing that process so that you could be designated as an expert witness in that case, correct?
Correct.
And so you were aware of the process, you were aware they had to submit documents that would establish your qualifications as an expert in the case so that you could be designated as an expert witness, correct?
Correct.
And now specifically with regard to Exhibit EEE for identification with these court filings, etc.
The cool thing about putting the chat up is that everyone can now see all three chats, because sometimes people are answering in your chat what if I pull it up on screen. But I just find it too small. But again,
I wish it went up the screen further. Like I wish it was twice or maybe even 3 times as big.
Yeah,
that would be good.
This is one of the constant complaints I get. 2-3 times as big would have been really nice.
Even though you may not have done it yourself, were you aware that this document, which is EEE, was submitted as part of the expert designation process we were talking about?
Yeah, it'll show everything on screen.
Document, no.
Were you aware that a CV was needed to be submitted on your behalf as part of the designation process?
Yes.
So you were aware a CV had to be submitted, but you're saying you don't recall this specific one being submitted?
Correct.
Does the timestamp up at the top of each page of Exhibit EEE, including this page that is your CV, match the timestamp, or is it different from the timestamp at the top of Exhibit FFF?
No, that is the same.
So it's exactly the same.
Yes.
And have you been involved in processes in courts where your qualifications, including your CV, have had to be submitted to courts to establish a designation as an expert witness?
Yes.
And can you conclude from these documents, including the timestamps, that the submission that was made to the court to establish your status and as an expert witness consisted of Exhibits FFF and EEE?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that. Were you aware of that?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this point, I move EEE and FFF into evidence.
Yeah.
He was aware of
We
it.
need one more step, Mr.
And sir, do EEE and FFF fairly and accurately represent the submission of documents in support of a designation of expert witness in this case?
Yes, as far as I can tell.
Your Honor, I offer these two into evidence.
I'm going to allow it over here.
May I hear briefly?
Yes, come on up. Bring up
You
the
just
person.
had a
Yes,
briefing,
Your
you
Honor.
idiot.
You absolute butt monkey. I am so tired of this absolute
Yeah, but
reject
this
from-
is this is an interference sidebar. It's
yeah.
Can we just please end it?
Oh gosh, Peg. This is going well. You know, Mr. Wolf's chin is really growing on me. Kind of makes him look
Well, it's growing
distinguished
on
from
him
this
too.
angle.
So
Probably shouldn't have used growing. Tag on him, Mo. You can't even give a compliment without being a butthole.
well, I am a little fired up.
So now is he going to claim, well, I didn't know Aperture did it. It's not my fault.
Yeah, they put it in there. So they wrote your CV without any input from you. Up. Oh, Paula Ball's wife is back. And he's wearing blue.
And
You
touching
know what
his
that
chin.
means. Donuts gonna be glazed.
Okay, is it just me or does he look a little baked?
He looks like he's falling asleep. And he lost that constant scowl he had in the first trial. But if they are sitting here, they just came back for lunch with us, which was an hour ago. And these people are toast because they're sitting on really bad seats. But it also shows that they weren't listening when Brennan was doing his redirect because no one understood a word of what's going on. But I love how Paulo Balls is checking his shoes all the time now. And Lady Diana is... I didn't think her haircut would come back, but it did.
Yeah, that is a choice right there. A big
That's
old fluffy choice.
I'm saying 1988.
May I reapproach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Thank you. I'll look. Thank you, Anima Rupe, for supporting over on Rumble, but will it show the paid rants?
Would
No,
have
it
to
won't.
stand here and
Because
get
they
Mr.
don't.
Churches.
I don't know
So
why.
what I would like to
Thank
do,
you,
Your
Anima.
Honor, at this time is to offer into evidence Exhibit EEE and Exhibit FFF for identification.
Well,
As one exhibit?
As one exhibit.
All right, we'll do that.
and broadcast it from the jurors, please.
And that would be the order.
Exhibit 193.
Isn't this the white bird promised? She's...
Thank you. May I hand it to the
Yes.
She's actually giving him a lot more leeway than she did in the first trial. So I think she is actually listening to the white bird promise. And we need a sidebar song like the Johnny Depp objection hearsay song. I already did a sidebar song, but I just forget to play it. Because me and Mo is making fun of Mr. Thunderchin.
Yeah.
Mr. Burgess, I am handing you what is now in evidence as Exhibit 193. I would like to draw your attention to the fourth page, which is your CV. And further, if I could, sir, draw your attention to the category of education, where it says BGS. Is it
Good point, Jojo.
correct that there you state Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama - Birmingham, Alabama, comma, 2024. Did I read that correctly?
You did read that correctly. And this was filed in 2023.
Understood. So now what I'd like to do, Your Honor, is
How
to,
can you put a future date on your CV?
Well, you can to kind of imply, but yeah, that's really sus. But now he's probably going to go and get enrollment papers or something. I still remember last week when Bev said we were having too many sidebars. She should surely remedied that situation. Well, it's the wrong side complaining now.
Ma'am, keep this for a moment, Your Honor. Give it to the witnesses as needed. Thank you. With Your Honor's permission, I would like to publish a document that is already in evidence.
Okay.
Actually, there may be two, 183 and 184. Let's start with 183. Let's expand it. And then, Mr. Wolf, do we have what has just been to publish as well? So what I'd like to do is to publish first, with the court's permission, Exhibit 193 that we were just talking about, so the jury can see what has been the subject of discussion. And sir, if you, Mr. Wolk, if you could just enlarge, all we need is the education section. Now, Mr. Burgess, as I heard it correctly in questions from Mr. Brennan, you answered the question that whether you had ever filed a document that misstated your educational background in a court. Do you recall that question asked of you?
Yes, I
And
did.
your answer was no, correct, sir?
Correct.
So let's look at this document, which we've just gone through, was filed in federal court in the United States District Court, Eastern District of Texas, Marshall Division, which is a federal court. And attached to it is your CV, and in the line of education, it lists under BGS, Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, 2024. You see that, sir?
I do, yes.
Now, you stated, and now what I'd like to do is do a, is there any qualification whatsoever in that line, that reference to BGS, qualifications at all, explanation, sir? Is there anything?
Pending.
I don't know what you mean.
Doing.
It's just a statement, right? There's words there. There's nothing after it that explains what's intended, correct?
Correct.
Now what I'd like to do, Your Honor, is to go to what was filed in this case, which is in evidence, and we'll go to 183 and then 184.
He's screwed.
It's a typo.
Yeah,
Now,
that's a hell of a typo, man.
in what has been filed in this case, there is a currently pursuing at the end after University of Alabama - Birmingham, Alabama, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Let's go back, please, to Exhibit 193. There is no currently pursuing there, is there, sir?
There is not, but that was filed in 2023, so that would be an expected graduation date of 2024.
Doesn't
Okay,
say that,
so-
though, does it?
It was, this document was filed in 2023. However, there's
But he wasn't
nothing
currently
in
pursuing
this
it.
document that in any way leads the reader to believe anything other than the degree is obtained on 2024, correct?
Correct.
So the only way somebody in the court system or a judge or a jury would know anything about this is to have to know about court filing dates, correct? I'll ask it another way, Mr. Burgess. You know how to write. Let's go back to 183 and 184.
Well,
He might be the king grifter.
hey, Tracy,
con
he's
man.
pursuing his degree. It's only been 17 years.
He's
Come
a
on now.
con man.
I'm
We
pursuing
have a
not being
Danish,
pregnant.
we have a Danish rom-com
9
that's
years
really,
long.
really funny. You should watch it. And there's a wife who gets killed, and her sister really want to bang the husband. Funny story. And she's been studying psychology for 7 years. That's a 4-year degree. So that's the joke that 7 years. I know something. Yeah, you.
Alessi is feeding this man still beating heart back to him. I was not prepared. I mean, more prepared than Burgess, but still. That's great.
Okay, I kind of want to see the guy from Mortal Kombat come in and say, "Finish him."
You know how to write currently pursuing on your CV, correct?
He's
Correct.
screwed.
And writing currently pursuing lets the reader know that you don't have that degree, correct?
Objection.
In that form, sustain.
You intend by writing currently pursuing, don't you, sir, that anybody reads this to know that you do not have a bachelor degree, correct?
Correct.
Now let's go back to what you filed in what was filed in federal court in that case. And it does not have the words currently pursuing, correct?
It does not.
So the reader, so it doesn't have that verbiage, correct?
Correct.
So isn't it the correct answer that you did file a document, your CV, in this federal court case that misstates the status of a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration?
Objection.
Sustain.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Well, he is pursuing a degree, but the degrees have long legs.
You
and they
stated
run away
again,
from
sir,
them.
that you have not
Especially when you don't enroll in
filed a
classes.
document that misstates your educational background, correct?
Correct.
And the last time I'll cover it, you know how to put currently pursuing on anything to do with a Bachelor of Science, correct?
Correct.
I've got college credits. I'm currently pursuing as well.
I'm just
twice
thinking.
college dropout. I'm just pursuing.
Exactly.
I'm gonna use an inappropriate thing. You know, a lot of times when I do rape cases, they always say, "Well, I just kind of went into myself and I wasn't there." Do you think he has that feeling right now?
He's gonna in a couple
This man's
months.
soul has left his body. This man is a shell right here. You are actually seeing an out of body experience.
This guy is sitting there. He's sweating like a stuck pig, and he's just thinking, "Happy place, happy place. Let me go to my happy place, happy place. Did I perjure myself to the feds? Happy place, happy place."
A Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration.
If he wrote that in 2023, was he enrolled?
No, I don't think he was. I don't think he's
He
been
better be
Didn't
enrolled.
we see this somewhere earlier? He hasn't been enrolled in class since like 2015 or something, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, holy hell.
Am I making this
They
up?
need to bring that up.
I believe that.
Not exist as an offered degree at the University of Alabama, Birmingham.
I might be making that up. Don't quote me.
Sure.
on
So
that.
that is an error. Clearly, BGS stands for Bachelors of General Studies, and that should have a with minor in Mathematics and Business Administration.
Funny how many
What is
mistakes you did.
clear from that document that BGS stands for a Bachelor of General Studies? What is clear in that document about the definition of that acronym?
That is a known acronym.
Let's go back to Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration. That degree does not exist. It is not offered at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, correct?
No, that is not.
So therefore, an incorrect statement about your educational background was filed in a federal court in Texas,
So
correct?
you just lied
it
in
was.
this case.
And he just admitted it.
And
That's it, Ms. Gillespie?
fatality.
Okay. Is there anything?
There is.
Okay.
Oh, God. Not Brennan.
Is a
go
bachelor's in
sit
general
down.
studies a liberal arts degree?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
The document that
None
the
of us
attorney
went to
just
school.
showed you, did you submit
I
that
went,
to
but
the
it
federal
didn't
court?
finish.
No,
I'm
I
still
did not.
pursuing.
Your company
it
did,
all-
Did you
which means your
ever see
company's
that
screwed.
document before it was filed?
No, I did not.
But
The
they just
document
made it up.
says 2024 for a degree. Is there a presumption whether you had it or expected it if that document was filed
He couldn't get it because it didn't exist, you absolute moron.
in 2023?
Yes, there is.
And what is the presumption if it was
The-
filed in 2023?
What's the presumption when it doesn't exist?
So presumption,
Well,
well, strike that.
okay. He asked
Speculation.
if there was any designation to make it clear. If it says 2020, if it was filed in 2023, and it says 2024, what was your expectation at that time as far as your degree?
Were you in school?
That I would complete my degree in 2024.
When you didn't complete your degree in 2024 as you expected, did you then change
Did you feel
your
good?
CV
Yes, I did.
to accurately reflect the change in your status?
Yes, I did.
And what did you change it to?
Currently pursuing.
Why didn't you finish your degree in 2024?
Because
Sure.
there is no such thing at the University of Alabama.
As most people can probably relate, work, family, and life many times get in the way. So, as a personal objective, I would like to finish my bachelor's, but again, work and life gets in the way.
Did you ever represent to a court that you had a degree that you didn't
This is
earn?
not Jurassic
No, I have
Park.
not.
Life does
He
not
asked you a
find a
number of
way.
questions about this 2023 filing, but didn't ask you any questions about the data. Is your opinion regarding the data change in any way
Commentary
in light
there,
of
Brennan.
his questions about a 2023 filing that you didn't file and someone filed on your behalf?
Again,
Objection.
Aperture
This is
doesn't make up
ridiculous.
the CV of their workers. It's not like Aperture says, hey, Burgess, we, whoopsie, we just put in your CV that you are currently pursuing a degree. Oh, you did? But I haven't gone to school since 2015. I haven't even taken a course in anything since 2022. Why would you make up and file in federal court that I'm currently pursuing a degree? Well, it sounds better, you know. Oh, yeah, I can see that. Could you have asked me the next time about my CV? Because it's so embarrassing. Every time they ask me, Gordon, and I'm sitting there sweating like a whore in church on Sundays, that can we just keep it a little on the low key? It's embarrassing that I didn't finish anything since 2015, 2000, whatever, 18. So could we please not put it on the CV? Nope. All our experts get the same CV. We have one for people who don't have a degree and one for, well, you're the company, you do it. That's not how it works, you absolute buffoon. I hope Alessi gets up there and said, so who at Aperture made up your CV and have they been fired? Because you should be fired. Swear
I got
to
a
for my last
buddy.
comment. I'll allow it.
I got a buddy that just had his first baby, just went back to school and got his master's degree. Like this year. What's the
Awesome sauce.
He's got like a 6-month-old baby, maybe 2 years old, a year and a half. I don't know. Kid's little. Just went back to school, got his master's degree, brand new marriage, couple years in. This guy,
I love that Valhalla's like the kid's between 6 months and 2 years old.
something. He's little. I don't know.
It's exact approximate.
Exactly.
The
At
objection
least as
is-
scientifically accurate as this guy's data.
Better than this guy's data.
All right, Mr. Burgess, you are all set.
Thank you.
I would have stand up and asked about that, but So now we're going to go to Dr. Welcher, who will say the black box shows she hit him because of the steering. I hope they got a lot of videos.
I'd like to play a number of clips. I'd like to begin with clip 23.
Those
Oh,
stupid
Jesus.
clips.
So we approach from the north, we actually missed the turn, and John says to me, it's Fairview, you just passed it, it's back there, it's on my left. I said, all right, so I pull into it, nose into a driveway, back out onto the street, which I now own as Cedar Crest, and then come from the north onto Fairview.
Like the next play, clip 25.
Did I forget to put the video on?
At 12:41, I was a voicemail to John. You can clearly, and this will probably be played out, you can clearly hear me pull into John's garage. You can hear my car sensor beeping as I get close to the sides of the garage. And then you hear the car go off, and then you hear the slight ding, 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 as I open the door, shut the door, I have high heels on, and I hear me walk in, go into the stairs up into the kitchen, shut the door, and you walk in the kitchen. It's a full minute long. That's at 12:41.
And finally, clip 24.
I do. I mean, I'll tell you, John and I argue the morning of the 28th, Friday morning. So we think he died right around 12:25, 12:30 on the earlier morning, January 29th.
Thank you. I have these for submission to evidence.
194.
Big mistake.
Yes, Your Honor, call Miss Christina Hanley at 10.
Christina Hanley.
Really?
Who is that?
MG, he's been trying to, he's done it all the way through because this is how strong his case is. Taking her out of context, saying stupid stuff, which a good lawyer would never have allowed her to do those interviews. I'm sorry, the defense teams are stars in my opinion, but this is the dumbest thing they have done. Because again, juries are dumb. But he just placed them without context, and then you have to sit there and say, what? And believe everything. Hey, Sass. Tass.
Hey, Taz.
Who's she?
I like this girl.
She's ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury, spelling your last name for the court?
Sure. I'm Christina Hanley. Hanley is Hanley.
And Ms. Hanley, what do you do for work?
I am a forensic scientist 3 at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Laboratory in the Trace Arson and Explosives Unit.
And where did you go to school?
I went to, I had received my Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, the concentration in forensics from Merrimack College.
Are you still pursuing it?
And do you have any other degrees?
I do not.
Now, following your education, where did you first go to work?
I began working at the State Police Crime Lab in 2008 in the Drug Identification Unit. And in 2009, I transferred into the Trace Unit. And in 2017, I was promoted from a forensic scientist 2 to a forensic scientist 3 in the Trace Arson and Explosives Unit.
Could I ask you please to speak up, please?
Ms. Hanley, if it helps, that microphone is adjustable, so if you could get it as close to you as possible, that would be great. Thank you. The Massachusetts State Police Crime Laboratory where you work, is that accredited?
Yes, it is.
And by whom?
We are accredited by ANAB.
And what does ANAB stand for?
ANAB stands for ANSI National Accreditation Board.
What is she testifying about? I can't remember her.
Sorry, I can't remember exactly what ANSI stands for. I apologize.
I think she's
as part of that accreditation process, do you want to go any sort of proficiency testing?
Yes, I do.
And can you explain to the jury what that proficiency testing process consists of?
Sure. So proficiency tests are a quality assurance measure that's used to monitor performance. And I'm required to complete at least one external proficiency test per year, where I'm authorized to do casework in multiple subdisciplines. In my unit, I typically complete more than one proficiency test per year.
And what areas do you specifically undergo proficiency testing in?
Sure. So I'm authorized to do casework in multiple subdisciplines in Trace. So I complete proficiency tests in
or wait,
the subdisciplines
is she the one that found
hairs,
the pig DNA?
paint, fibers, glass, tape, and serial restorations and physical match examinations.
I think she is.
And generally speaking, what is entailed in those proficiency testing that you're given multiple times a year?
So it's provided by an external company that provides the proficiency test, and I'm required to successfully complete one of those proficiency tests per year.
Now, have you successfully completed each of those proficiency tests that you've taken?
Yes, I have.
Now, what type of training or continuing education have you undergone at the State Police Crime Laboratory?
Sure. So I had internal training as well as external training. The internal training consisted of I had to complete required readings. I was required to complete some laboratory exercises, learn how to utilize the instrumentation in the lab. I observed other analysts in the unit.
She's the glass one.
I was also required to complete
Maybe we can find out what those
as well as a
17 pieces of
competency
glass
test, and in addition to that, a mock trial.
Now, you mentioned earlier in the testimony you're a forensic scientist 3 currently, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what is the difference, or can you explain the difference to the jury between a forensic scientist 2 versus a forensic scientist 3?
Sure. So a forensic scientist 2 is essentially just like a bench chemist who their primary role or responsibility is casework. A forensic scientist 3 does casework, but in addition is also a unit supervisor.
Now, what does the Trace unit do or examine within the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab?
Sure. So I'm responsible for examining and comparing trace items that, for example, such as paint, glass, fibers, hairs, tape, miscellaneous items. I also perform serial number restorations on firearms and physical match examinations.
And what are your general duties and responsibilities within the trace unit within the lab?
She's the one who's going to testify the glass on the bumper wasn't connected to any other glass. All the glass connects to the glass shards connects to the cocktail. The glass shards connect to the nothing. The glass shards connect to the glass shards, and we don't know why it's here.
So I am responsible for the general operation of the unit. I train other forensic scientists within the unit. I also complete technical and administrative reviews of casework. And I also complete my own casework in the trace disciplines that I previously mentioned.
Now, Ms. Hanley, you as a supervisor, you review other analysts' work within the trace unit, correct?
Yes, I do.
And who reviews your work for any sort of trace analysis that you do?
So depending on what the subdiscipline, some of the
guy who was just here.
casework that I'm authorized to do work in, it needs to be technically reviewed by an external technical reviewer because I'm the only one within my unit that can do certain types of
she was the
casework
DNA
currently,
one.
so we have to utilize an external technical reviewer at this time.
Now, with reference to
his name is Ham Lee, not Ham Lee.
Physical match analysis, can you explain to the jury first, just in general terms, how is that analysis performed?
Sure. So when I receive an item, I take that item into my custody and I document it with photographs, and I make observations and take notes, and then I'll examine the items microscopically, and I will do any comparison work to determine if there is or is not a physical match between items.
Now, that physical match analysis within the trace unit at the state lab, is that general work supported by any sort of scientific principle or methodology that you're aware of?
Yes.
Let me ask you this. Are you familiar with something called the Lockhart exchange principle?
Yes. So the Lockhart exchange principle, it's kind of the foundation or basis of trace analysis. It is a principle that states that when two objects or two items come into contact with each other, there is an exchange of material.
Now, with reference to your workspace, what is it that you do to your bench between your examination of separately packaged items?
Sure. So the bench top as well as the tools that I'm going to use are all cleaned with a bleach solution. And once that's done, there's a clean piece of butcher paper that's put down on the bench, and that's done.
I normally just speed it up when it's the, did you go to school? Yes, I did. But we got into methodology. I was just sleeping.
In between looking at different items.
And why is it that you do that in between looking at different items?
That's done to prevent any cross-contamination.
Now, you've alluded a little bit earlier in your testimony, but on what types of evidence can you perform a physical match analysis?
Sure. So physical match examination can be conducted with many different types of material. For example, plastics, glass, tape, etc.
Now, when evidence is submitted to your lab, how is it kept track of throughout its stay at the lab?
Sure. So when evidence is submitted to the laboratory, the case information is put into our LIMS system, which stands for Laboratory Information Management System.
And once it's assigned that number, how is it sort of tracked as it progresses through the different units within the lab?
Sure. So the unique case number that's assigned to the case is tracked within the system. It's referred to as a chain of custody. So items of evidence will get scanned depending on where their location is, and the LIMS system keeps track of all of that, so we know exactly where an item is.
So when you take an item or you receive an item to be tested, can you explain to the jury what you do to begin your analysis?
Sure. So when an item gets scanned into my custody, after I've prepped my area to examine the item, I scan that item into my custody, and I will document that item with photographs. I will make notes of my observations. I will examine the item microscopically. If needed, I'll proceed with sampling and possibly additional microscopic examination and instrumental analysis.
Now, specifically starting with items of glass, when you take an item of glass to conduct a comparative analysis, generally speaking, what is the process for conducting such an examination of glass?
So it'd be the same process that I just mentioned. I would take that item, take photos, make any observations. I would proceed with, first I would check to see if there's any physical match comparisons, and then if needed, I would take any samples to examine it microscopically and or instrumentally.
And that general process that you've just described is the items that you tested in reference to this case or analyzed in reference to this case. Is that the process that you followed in this case?
Yes.
Now, what kind of instruments do you use, starting off with items of glass, what kind of instruments do you use to conduct that analysis?
Sure. So I'll use a stereo zoom microscope to initially examine it microscopically. If I take samples to do additional microscopic examination, I'll examine it under a polarized light microscope. And then if I need to take samples to do instrumental analysis, that would be using our, it's referred to as a GRIM, which stands for Glass Refractive Index Measurement. It's an instrument that measures.
Why she sounds like one of the actors of SNL when they are reading from the cue cards because they don't know the sketch. She did this last year.
Analytical person.
Well, maybe we need to check her CV.
Measures the refractive index of glass.
And if you could please explain to the jury, what is a refractive index?
Sure. A refractive index is a measure of how light bends when it passes from one medium to another.
And how are you viewing that utilizing the GRIM device when it comes to glass?
So a sample is prepped on a slide and it is placed on a hot stage of the microscope of the instrument, and the oil that the sample is in it goes through a cooling and a heating phase, and as it's going through a cooling and a heating phase, it passes through what we refer to as a match point. So you can make that observation as the sample is running, and then when the sample is done running, it takes an average and it calculates the refractive index of the sample through the calibration data of the instrument.
And what is an FTIR?
So an FTIR is a Fourier transform infrared spectrum and an analytical tool that we use samples. Essentially, a sample is exposed to infrared light, and your sample reacts in a certain way to it, and it produces a spectrum or a graph of
play with lasers
peaks and valleys, and it
and all this other fun
is
stuff.
representative of
AF.
your sample.
And how is that FTIR instrument, how is that used in this type of physical match analysis?
So actually the FTIR was not used for physical match examination.
Now, you mentioned it a little bit earlier in your testimony. What is a polarized light microscope?
So a polarized light microscope it's a microscope that just has a couple of filters in it that we use to look at samples at a higher magnification and make observations of certain optical properties of samples.
And how are you utilizing that instrument in your analysis in the lab?
So it's used to examine various different types of samples, paint, fiber. We can also look at glass.
Now, do you document your work as you perform your analysis in the lab?
Yes, I do.
Now, Ms. Hanley, at some point were you assigned to perform some work on a lab case number 22-02184 pertaining to this defendant, Karen Reed?
Yes, I was.
And what type of work were you assigned to do in this case?
So I was given items for physical match comparison of some glass items, as well as some instrumental analysis of the glass. And I was also given items for some items of plastic for comparison.
Now, starting with glass pieces, do you recall what item numbers you analyzed pertaining to the glass pieces?
Yes. So I examined items 3-2, which was a clear glass cup with broken irregular edges. I was also given item 3-3, which was 5 pieces of clear glass with broken irregular edges from the bumper of the vehicle. And then I was also
5
given
pieces?
item 7-12,
Wasn't there only
which
1 or
were
possibly 2
clear
on the
and glass
bumper?
pieces recovered from
There's
the
only
road.
one.
And I was given also 7-14, which was a clear piece of glass recovered from the road.
And now if we could, Ms. Hanley, just break those down sort of one by one. So starting with item 3-2, what was provided to you in reference to a description of what that item was?
Sure. So item 3-2 was a clear glass cup with broken irregular edges, and there was dirt debris on the exterior and interior of the cup.
Now, did you measure that item?
I did.
And what measurements did you obtain from that item, the drinking glass?
I just would need to refer to my report for measurements.
Okay, you can do that. You have your report right there. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the diameter of the bottom of the glass cup was 2 3/4 inches, and it measured approximately 2.5 inches in height.
You mentioned that there was debris on both the interior and exterior of the drinking glass. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, turning your attention to item 3-3, what was provided to you as a description of item 3-3?
Sure. So item 3-3 consisted of 5 pieces of clear glass, all with broken irregular edges.
And was there anything provided in the description of where those 5 pieces of broken glass were located?
Yes, they were recovered from the bumper of a vehicle.
There was only one piece of
And
glass.
was there
on
any
the bumper.
identifying information provided to you as far as in reference to that vehicle?
Remember, they did the reflection and thought it was 2.
But there was only one.
Yeah,
There was
wait
never
for cross.
5.
That's probably going to be something they're going to talk about on cross. I would be my guess. What do I know?
The only other description of the item is the license plate of the vehicle.
What was the license plate that was provided?
So it was MA3GC684.
And did you measure each of those respective items?
Yes, I did.
Now, as far as before we get to the measurements, Ms. Hanley, when it comes to a lab item number, say 3-3, that has multiple pieces to it, how are each of those individual pieces then subsequently labeled?
So sometimes we'll subsequently label them with a lettering system.
And as far as these particular pieces contained within item 3-3, the pieces of glass from the bumper of the defendant's vehicle, how are they labeled?
So these were labeled A through E.
And with reference to the measurements, what measurements did you obtain from the pieces within item 3-3?
Sure. So I measured the largest and the smallest, and the largest measured approximately 7/8 of an inch by 5/16 of an inch, and the smallest measured approximately 3/16 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch.
How did that break?
Now, with reference to the drinking glass, you examined that microscopically, is that correct?
I did, yes.
And with reference to these items from item 3-3 from the bumper, you examined those microscopically as well, is that correct?
Correct.
And was there a particular piece from the pieces from the bumper that you did any additional examination of?
Yes, I did.
And what instruments did you use in which piece?
Sure. So there was one piece, I sampled a piece E that I had labeled as piece E. And I took a sample for examination under the polarized light microscope and a sample to analyze it instrumentally on the GREM instrument.
Now, turning your attention to item 7-12, what was provided to you as a description for item 7-12?
Sure. So item 7-12, that consisted of 5 pieces of clear apparent plastic and 9 pieces of clear apparent glass with all with broken irregular edges.
Now, the 9 apparent pieces, well, let me ask you this first. As far as the description that you were provided, was there any description as far as where those items were recovered from?
Yes. Those items were recovered from 34 Fairview Road.
And is it your understanding they were recovered from the street or the roadway outside of that residence?
They were in the
It
yard.
just says recovered from 34 Fairview Road.
Now, as far as the 9 pieces of clear apparent glass from item 7-12, were those similarly sub-labeled as the previous item 3-3?
Yes, I received those labeled with the lettering system. They were labeled A, B, C, D, E, F, I, K, and L.
And with reference to those 9 pieces of glass, did you examine those microscopically as well?
I did, yes.
Now, turning your attention to item 7-14, what were you provided with as far as a description of that item 7-14?
So this item consisted of 1 piece of clear glass with broken irregular edges.
And similarly, was there any description provided as to where that item was recovered from?
Yes, it was recovered from 34 Fairview Road as well.
And again, how many pieces were contained within that item 7-14?
7-14 was just 1 piece of glass.
And did you measure that item as well?
That item, I do not have the measurement of. It was examined by a previous analyst within the unit, so that measurement was taken at that time.
And that other analyst would be Mix Valier, is that correct?
Yes.
And as far as your examination of that item 7-14, what type of instruments did you use to examine 7-14?
So I sampled 7-14 to examine it under the polarized light microscope, as well as to analyze it instrumentally using the GRIM instrument.
Are you familiar with a term called a class characteristic?
Yes.
Can you explain to the jury what that is?
Sure. So a class characteristic is when a material can be associated with a group of items that share characteristics.
And what is an individual characteristic?
An individual characteristic is when a material can be related to a single source, such as a physical match.
And so what is the difference between a class characteristic versus an individual characteristic?
So class characteristic is that it can be associated with a group of items that share characteristics,
Plastic
versus the
wood.
individual characteristic. It's more individualizing. It can be related to a single source, just in the case of like a physical match.
And what is a physical match?
So a physical match is if an item is broken and those pieces are compared to each other and their broken irregular edges fit back together, and they have a jigsaw fit, that would be considered a physical match.
Now, can you please explain to the jury the steps and the process that you undertook in your comparative analysis of items, specifically of glass in this case?
Sure. So I first did a comparison of all of the glass pieces and the glass cup that were recovered from the road. So those were items 3-2, 7-12 and 7-14. So I examined all of those to determine if any of.
I'm sorry. I just wasted way too much time on this. I made a.
I was wondering what you were doing. I love it.
What? Oh, got it. Never mind.
I'm sorry.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Beautiful.
That's why I shouldn't have access to.
Okay, guys,
to the internet.
I'm not being totally confused, but there was only one piece of glass on the bumper. How did we end up with 5 pieces? I mean,
well,
my guess is at some point it broke, but
how the hell? What are they letting my feral child play with the evidence? Because I could understand how it exploded into 94,000 pieces if they let my feral son touch it, but these are supposed to be experts, that are careful and don't, run around shirtless.
I don't know. It's at this point, let's just get done with it because she's also talking really, really slow and really.
She's putting me to sleep. She's really trying hard to put me to sleep.
Is pure 100% uncut Colombian Ambien.
You can't even make fun of her.
Between
She
any
didn't
of
do
those
anything
items
wrong.
first.
She's just testing the evidence that they gave her.
Yeah.
And there were,
who's just sent us?
I believe, 6 pieces of glass from item 7-12 that fit mechanically to the cup that was also recovered from the road, item 3-2.
The cup wasn't recovered from the road. It was recovered from under John's body.
She needs
After
to stop
I completed
because she has no idea where it was recovered.
that examination, I then did a comparison to see if there was
Roughly
a physical
20
match
minutes.
to some of the 2 of the glass pieces from the bumper. And there were 5 total from the bumper. 2 of them I used for physical match comparison. And there was no physical match comparison between those 2 pieces from the bumper, item 3-3, compared to the glass pieces and the cup that were recovered from the road. And then I sampled, as I had mentioned earlier, one of the pieces from the bumper to do further microscopic and analytical analysis on, and did a comparison with one of the pieces from the road.
Can I see counsel at sidebar for just a minute, please?
I sampled, as I had mentioned earlier, one of the pieces from the bumper to do with one of the pieces.
I think she's like, what the F? There's only one piece on the bumper. Why are you going to have her talking about all this craziness?
No,
Someone has no
very
idea what she's
sleeping.
talking about.
I bet you she's
cool.
I'm pulling the plug, guys. This lady is just too boring. We're going home.
Interesting, Bev. We need to hurry this up. We can't have sidebars. Is going to call her own.
This is the FTIR microscope thingy she's talking about, the analyzer.
Ooh, that looks cool.
Yeah, Brian sent me this. But basically, they just shine like a light or a laser through it and measure the resistance that the light or laser gets. Right, Brian? It's just a really...
Marissa, we had this last year. The glass, I think there's 3 different glass pieces. The one on the bumper only fits with one other, I believe it is. And last year they claimed there are 2 pieces of glass as well, but they didn't fit with each other. None of them is fitting with the cocktail glass. So, hey, don't worry about it. There's just glass there.
Yeah,
No, I'm
she's
not
just
crucifying
doing her
her.
job.
She's just really, really, really boring.
I remember liking her last year for some reason.
Yeah, but you're a weird person, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Did they show 5 pieces of glass on the bumper? No, there's only 1. At least that we saw from the lady who did the examination, because she said she pulled it off and it was really easy, and she didn't need her thongs. And then he said there was another piece, and then he said, but that's a reflection.
Tweezers, not
Or
thongs.
tongs.
No, the tongs.
Not.
Well, she might need her thong. Who knows? That thong, the thong,
Fair
thong,
point.
thong.
You might need to MacGyver something.
So we're going to stop for the day. This family, I'm
Yay!
going back tomorrow, but a little bit later in the day, and the victim of course can tell you.
What?
All right, so
We're done
folks,
for the
we're gonna
day.
end for today.
Sorry. She said, I want you tomorrow to come back a little bit later in the day. So what are we doing in the morning?
Please do not discuss this.
Are we
case
starting with Dr.
anyone.
Welcher
Don't do
tomorrow?
any independent research or investigation.
Well, no, they can't
into this
not
case. If you
do
have
her, right?
Hear or read anything about
She's-
the case, this is to- and the victim asks you to come back tomorrow, but a little bit later in the day, and the victim of course can tell you.
We're going to get Dr. Welcher to begin with tomorrow. Listen to what she's saying. I'll put on the booster. She says she's going to call her back, but a little bit later.
Tomorrow, but a little bit later in the day, and the victim of course can tell you the time. Please wait and let us go and watch your son. Ms. Hanley after the jury trial. Okay.
Was she talking to her or to the jury?
She was talking to her. She said, we're going to call you
You
back.
don't need me for anything, right? We're all set?
We're all set, Your Honor. Thank you.
She says we're going to call you back, but a little bit later in the
Talking to
day.
the jury.
So
Nope.
we're going to stop for the day. Ms. Hanley, I'm going to ask you to come
Miss
back
Hanley.
tomorrow, but a little bit later in the day, and
Correct.
the victim of course can tell you the time.
Why are they doing that? Why are you just? Yeah, we're gonna call somebody else first. Never mind. Go take a seat. We'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
So
Is that a thing?
she's killing it 20 minutes early. And then she must have called them up to say, hey, this lady is totally killing my wife, man. I just had some really good gummies and I just can't handle it now, man. I just got through that hell. I was hallucinating that some fat, sweaty guy was lying about his CV. So weird, man. I just can't handle. She's a downer, man. So can we do it tomorrow? And then they probably said, but Your Honor, we have Dr. Welcher lined up for tomorrow to begin with. That's why we put this lady in here, but we didn't know cross-examination would take this long. Well, how long are you expecting him to last? Probably till lunch, Your Honor. Okay, we can call Miss Hanley back later then. I bet
There
you
is no way
that's the
he is
situation.
going to take before lunch. Not with the amount of BS that is going to be going on in that testimony.
I actually think that he will try and not go too much into everything. Oh, there's a lot of people having their meeting before a judge about the zone. Attorney appearance on this date for Erica Walls. Beverly Canoni. Oh, that's tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at 9. There will be. No. Yeah. Am I reading it correctly that tomorrow at 9? That can't be right. But Mark Randazza, J. Marshall Wallman, for request for review per supplemental order regarding the buffer zone. That has to go before a judge. Mark Randazza for Jason Grant, Erica Walls, Tom, and no, it'll be held at 12 p.m. Honorable Michael Doolin. So that's not Bev. We'll start tomorrow at 9. Oh, sorry, Marissa, I was reading it wrong. It is the 20th today. Sorry, I'm just going to get conflictorated. But there have been a hearing with all these people who has been harassed in the non-free speech zone. Sorry. So, yeah. How can you stop someone in the middle of testimony to switch to someone else. That's why she called a sidebar and she said, how long is this going to take? And they said, well, it's Lally, probably 25 hours. Okay. We're not going to go that late. How is tomorrow looking? Well, we have Dr. Welcher lined up at 9, and we would really like to get going with him. How long is he going to take? Well, direct is probably going to be 90 minutes. Okay, cross-examination. I think I could do it in 30 minutes, Your Honor. Okay, so we can call her back at lunch. Probably something like that was the discussion, and that's why you can do it. They had to agree to do it. And again, this lady has nothing other than there was glass there, and none of it really matched each other. So that's just. But I don't think. Actually, I don't think that guy, even though he is the crown witness in the case, is going to be that long. Because it's just the event, the backing up, and this is where we saw it. Hoover Paul didn't spend that much time talking about the triggering event. He talked more about the debris field and stuff like that. Do we think he's going to take hours?
I would. I
don't think Brennan is gonna go into it too deep because it also limits them a bit on cross, right?
But he has to explain that it happened, right? He has yet to mention how or when or why anybody was struck with a vehicle. He's got to get it in sometime.
Who, if any, was struck by a vehicle? Do you know John O'Keefe? No? Is he still alive? I don't know.
No idea.
Because he's not dead
I don't
yet.
think so. I don't think so.
Well, he was declared dead. No, we haven't even declared him dead yet.
Did we have the ER doctor or no? I can't remember if the ER doctor has been in this trial yet or not. Kind of a regular looking white guy. Looks like a middle-aged soccer dad, honestly.
Oh my God,
like
Doink's an idiot.
Why are we shocked? I mean, how is this news? I mean, never mind.
Breaking news. We think John O'Keefe died around 12:25 or 12:30 on the 29th. Karen Reed. Hank Brennan just played multiple new, never-before-seen Karen clips in the John Keefe and Karen Reed retrial. Karen admitted she knew John was dead by 12:30. No.
That's
you just put it up there. We think. That's an assumption. That's not definite knowledge. It's maybe. It's kind of like your expert saying somewhere between 21 and 29 seconds. Which is just 2 minutes before Karen's car shows a backup event. So she killed him 2 minutes before she backed up. And John's phone then stopped moving on the lawn while Karen was drunk driving with a BAC between 0.14 and 0.28, which is 2 to 4 times the legal limit. That's it. It's over. Only Karen was around John at 12:30. Nope, Ryan Nagel was right behind him. And all the data and evidence proves it. Nah, Hank Brennan may have just won this case using Karen's own secret words to a film crew.
Secret words? It was during the interview, you moron.
In other clips, Karen admits to making a 3-point turn at 12:24 a.m., confirmed by Karen's Lexus data, before sitting with John outside Fairview till roughly 12:31, and also to arriving back at John's home before 12:41 that morning. So they were sitting outside till roughly 12:31, but she killed him between 12:25 and 12:30. Watch live as testimony continues with exclusive Karen Reed footage. You have Karen Cam footage and chat with the towel friends here. Please don't. You will be dumber for it.
Can someone pay for my therapy because I need to block
is not
this from
a
my
safe
memory.
zone, Mo. I will share Doink the Clown on this channel.
I don't understand his 5 viewpoints. He is high AF. How can he even understand 5, let alone 1 live feed? Not to mention, why do you do this to your mic? You know that you don't have to stand right in front
Hey, everyone.
of it.
This is breaking news. Karen Reed just admitted she killed John O'Keefe because she said, we think he died at 12:25. I don't know why he has
If
to.
you have a pleasant voice, people will listen to you.
Lefty,
if you deep throat your mic, people will be annoyed at you.
Lefty, if you open up your YouTube studio, there's a button called Edit. You press your Edit button. Remember to refresh just before you do it, so you're sure that everyone's live right now. It's live. I'm just setting up my redirect while you're doing it.
You gotta go to content and then live and then edit.
Yeah, but you always stream with your control panel open, so you can
he
do
might
stuff.
not. You got to tell him how to get there first, and then you go to customization.
He's monetized. He knows everything now. Then you go to edit, then you hit customization, and then you go down to redirect and it says add, and then you can say, "Oh, I'm going to redirect to this channel today," and you can do that. And I still have an FNL from Volstorm and Diva. I'm still pretty sure it's not going to happen. But thank you, Lefty. Now you can pursue a redirect.
It's a little tricky, but you get the hang of it. Of course, I say that. It's probably not tricky for you.
Lefty, are you stream sniping us right now?
Yeah, I think he is.
What?
He's talking about it.
He's showing up in my redirects. Like, wait a minute, that's Baker's face on Lefty's thing there.
Now I'm gonna curse Norwegian. Fan I helvete.
I believe you.
What does that mean?
Satan in hell.
Ooh.
I like that. I need to learn that. Is it bad if I want to get like one of those language things just to learn to curse another language? It's not to really use it for good.
No. That's I use it whenever I travel because then I can go and say, oh my, when I see people. My sister and I has perfected it. But hey, Lefties viewers, I hope you enjoyed the content. No horses was hit. You have to go to Lefty's streams to see that. And Kelly, have a safe trip to the wedding. I hope it's a wonderful one, and don't fight the girls over the bouquet. Yeah, you got Elisa's blessing. No, it's not Elisa.
Oh,
it's Elisa.
So, Elisa. Okay. I will very much try to remember that, but I also don't remember my own kids' names, so it swings and roundabouts.
My kids are, hey, you. That's, yeah, how much salmon gist have you bought since yesterday?
No, I set myself up for failure. The three girls have names that all end in A, and they're 4 letters, and then I've got the boys that are all G names. So we set ourselves up for failure.
So we can say all the boys are G unit.
Yes, I'll allow it. Valhalla looks like he's on the fence, though, so it's a 2-judge panel, and I don't know how it's going to go.
Well, G unit, that was 50 cents. No, M&M's. It was someone's rap group.
You're talking about the wrestling thing?
No, G Unit. Wasn't that 50?
Yeah, that was 50. Sorry, I was distracted.
Yeah, but isn't that a car or is that a G-Wagon?
G-Wagon.
Yeah, that's a Mercedes Jeep. This witness isn't done.
G-Unit.
Bev said we're going to call you back tomorrow, but later in the day. What's a floating chat? What's floating chat? That's the one you have out on the side where you can see the chat. Oh, I have a poll, by the way. Floating chat is not coming back. 55% doesn't like it.
55% don't like it. I don't mind it when it's right here, like the three of us. It actually fits perfect in that little window.
Yeah.
I don't mind it there, but like in the court thing, it just seems weird.
Yeah, I'll have to play with it for mornings with Mo and see if I can arrange it so it's not covering anything.
You can't because you can't move
It's
it.
just a toggle. It's brand new. They might fix it. It's brand
No,
new.
I mean, I can manipulate my media window to where it's not covering.
Yes,
But again,
Maybe,
it's
possibly.
you can. The layouts.
I don't know. Maybe if you go full screen, because some people, I like to watch full screen, and then you can see chat either way. And with the floating chat, you can get all 4 streams connected.
That's
pretty cool. But if you are reading the chat and are windowed, then it could be annoying. I can see why.
Yeah, I can see both sides.
Maybe people need to get used to it because not everyone is a Twitch streamer. Only Mo, who has Cadias and a baby pool, and will write her name on her left clavicle, your name on her left clavicle for a $500 super chat.
Can confirm 6 kids to put through college. Ain't no shame in this game.
Anima, you don't watch
Giggity.
YouTube.
G-Unit.
So you're a gangster?
You remember the No Limit Soldiers in the wrestling? Hooty hoo!
No, I'm thinking about the Dave Chappelle where they're wife swapping and I'm gangster, G-Unit, and he, oh, so you're a gangster? And then he drives him into the hood and kicks him out of the car. Say hello to your friends for me, and then he drives off.
I don't remember that one.
It's a good one. Everyone, you don't have to go, but you can't stay here because we need to go to bed, maybe. Pick up kids, go throw a goat. It's not a euphemism. And you should come back tomorrow. Please show a little bit of love to the wonderful.
Hi guys, it's me, Mo. If you want some place to hang out in the morning before court, I do about a 45-minute show with all the headlines, true crimes, and crazy stuff on the internet. And Lord Chippy, I mean, he really is the selling point.
What's up, y'all? I'm Valhalla. I have goats. Goats are awesome. I'm sending y'all to Recovery Addict. So go over there and throw some goat emojis in the chat for me. Appreciate you.
Yes, I did examine his lower extremities. That is protocol in any case of suspected impact with a motor vehicle. So I did examine his legs and I did not see any evidence of an impact site.
Just pin it on the girl, right?